Hi guys, welcome to Zenith Workouts. Today you're joining for a level 1 mat class where we're going to focus on moving our spine, and we're probably going to take about 20 minutes to do that. If you have your blue mini stability ball, I will give you some option to use it as a challenge when we're on our side later. It's a big challenge. So if you don't have your blue mini stability ball, don't worry, you're going to get a lot of side work anyway, but the blue ball, if any of you have tried it while on your side before, it does make a big difference. But yeah, we're going to start with our feet in parallel and taking a nice breath in, reaching those arms overhead. Keeping the shoulders down away from the ears, but going for length between the feet and the hands, right? So long in each side of the body without shrugging the shoulders or getting tension in the neck. And let's reach the right fingertips a little higher and soften the right knee. And then switch, left fingertips a little higher, soften the left knee. Bend right knee, reach the right fingertips higher. So you're just alternating. You can do slower or a little quicker, whatever feels good in your body, but this is lengthening between the waist and the tips of the fingers as you do this. One more nice one with the right. One more nice one with the left. And then we're going to take the hands, we're going to bring them behind our head for one of what you know is one of my favorite exercises, the butterfly. Take a nice breath in. And as you breathe in, you're going to get wide across the chest. Press the elbows back. Draw in with the belly so that the low back doesn't move, but lift the breastbone, lift the throat, lift the face so that you get this lovely extension in the upper back. Nod the chin as you breathe out. Bring the elbows closer together and roll forward, but again, just as far as sort of the bottom of the shoulder blades. Breath into butterfly, open, and exhale to round it forward. Breath into butterfly, open, and out breath to round it forward. And then coming to a nice neutral, but leaving the hands there. And I want you to, if you don't have the feet touching, bring the feet to touch. Bend the knees just slightly so that you can press them together. And I want you to rotate. I want you to keep the head in the back of the hands, and I just want you to turn to the right. And see where you feel that. And it's like you're turning right down, but stopping at like your tummy button. Come back to the center, and we'll do the left. Think of getting taller as you turn. And we'll do two more each way. Where it doesn't have to be forced, but you are trying to get to the end of your, the range of motion that is available in your tissues. All while keeping that spine nice and vertical. Getting longer as you rotate. Sort of thinking like stripes on a candy cane, they go up and around. You're getting longer, taller as you rotate. Stopping here, straightening the knees, and coming into, we're going to work a little more on that rotation, coming into a lunge position with your right leg forward and your left leg back. And it doesn't matter how big your lunge is, it's what you're comfortable with, but our movement is going to be to do a lunge, keeping that nice vertical spine, breathing in to lower down, and exhaling to come up. And then we're going to float the arms up. And we're going to take the right arm and you're going to bend the elbow. It's like you're drawing back on a bow. You're going to bend the right elbow and draw that elbow back. And that might be where you stop if this is challenging your balance. If you can, you're going to turn the head, follow that hand with your eyes and reach it behind you for more rotation and more of a balance challenge. Bring the hand back to where you started, and we'll do two more like that, or maybe we'll do three because that was a demo. Breath into lunge, exhale to gather yourself from your core, pelvic floor, deep belly to come back up. Float the arms up and either just draw back so you get the rotation in the chest, but you keep the eyes forward, or a little harder for the balance is to reach that arm right behind you, turn and look at it with your eyes, then circle back around to the front, right? In your lunge, breath in, exhale to come up. Float the arms up, draw back on your bow, either pause there or reach it further. But remember to get tall. Circle back to the front. This is our last one on this side. Nice lunge, come back up. Float the arms up, the shoulders are down, draw back with your right arm. It's always your right arm, because that right leg is forward. It's helping you keep the pelvis nice and still. And then we'll switch to do the other side, and you'll do the left arm repeatedly. Perfect. So, step it forward, step it back into a lunge with the left leg. I'm going to turn around so I face you. And get the pelvis right under the rib cage, right under the weight of the head. Take your breath in to lower and come back up. And the lunge doesn't have to be deep. Float the arms up. On your out breath, get taller as you rotate and either just drawing the elbow back, keeping the gaze straight ahead, or allowing the head to turn too. Follow that, stretch out the arm, and then circle back to the front. And that's a little bit hard, but we embrace the challenges today, right? Lunge and come up, float the arms up, draw back on your bow as far as it's comfortable for you and your balance, continuing right on if that feels good, and circle back to the front for one more on this side. Breath in to lower, exhale to come back up, float the arms up, draw back on that imaginary bow, reach it back, reach it back, reach it back, reach it back, back to the front, yay, and step it forward, good. From here, we're going to do a roll down. So nice breath in, and you don't have to roll down if you know your back doesn't like to roll down, but nodding the chin to start with so that you get length in the back of the neck. And on your out breath, continue that idea of one bone of the back rolling forward off the one below it. And you can soften your knees, you can put your hands on your thighs. You're just trying to round your spine, but in length. Not just collapse into this forward bend, but to think of a lot of length between tailbone and the crown of the head. Like if you had a barrel on your thighs, you're going over top of it. At the bottom, beautiful breath in, and then restacking. Opening across the chest, and we'll do it again. Out breath to nod the chin. If you really hate the roll down, your spine doesn't like this, maybe you have some old disc injuries or recent disc injuries that are complaining about this forward bend, that's fine. You can come down onto hands and knees on the mat because we're going to come there right after this next roll down. So nice breath in, nod the chin on your out breath to start that roll forward with the head, and then continue on and try to feel that length. Oh, doesn't that feel good? Yeah. If your body likes this movement, it is a really nice movement. Good. On this one, we're going to walk it out to hands and knees. So perfect. And coming to do a variation of our cat stretch today. So we're going to bring the left knee forward and the right hand back. And then we'll do our cat stretch. If your wrist doesn't like that, you could put the fist down, right? Because that's a bit of a sharp angle at the wrist. But nice breath in, and as you breathe out, same as always, drawing in with the deep belly, rounding that low spine up towards the sky. Then the mid back, the upper back, the head and neck drop down. The shoulders are still broad, they're still away from the ears. And then release. Pelvis, low back, mid back, head and neck are the last thing to come back to that nice neutral, and we'll do it again with this sort of variation. Draw in with the deep belly, round it up, and you're really trying to feel like one bone of the back at a time is lifting towards the ceiling this time, drawing at the end. It's like the forehead is going to touch that knee. Of course it's not going to unless you're very flexible. Bring the pelvis back to neutral, low back, mid back, head and neck. Good. And then switch so that you have the right knee forward and the left hand back. Okay? And we'll do two in this variation. So nice breath in to prepare. On your out breath, draw in with the deep belly. Draw the tummy button back towards the spine and do all you can. You're still trying to get close together between ribs and hips in the front. Then the mid back arches up, the upper back, the head and neck drop down. And release it back to nice neutral. Good, and we'll do it again. Low back starts the movement. Do all you can with that low back. And just feel it. It might feel quite different side to side. Or maybe you notice you're compensating a little bit. Putting more weight into the leg instead of the hand, or shifting to the side, and you're going to try to even out all of those things, right? Good. Perfect. Come to hands and knees. We're going to tuck the toes, and we're going to do our hover. So take a nice breath in to prepare, and on your out breath, you're drawing in with the deep belly, and you're softening the elbows, but you're really pressing the chest away from the mat. And you're going to hover the knees without the spine changing its position at all. Breathe in to relax down and exhale to come back up. Breathe in to relax down and exhale to come back up. We're going to do one more. Breath in to lower the knees. Before you raise the knees, you're thinking of lifting the pelvic floor, drawing in with the deep belly, coming to your hover, and you're going to hold here for 2 breaths if you can. Nice breath in. And try to picture that air going to the sides of the rib cage. You don't want to drive it all to the belly or you won't be able to hold and support this movement. Okay. And then release the knees. Uncurl the toes. Rock it back if you need to just give a little break to the wrists. We're going to come to sit. And if you're sitting on your mat, if you're very tight in the hips and that's hard, you could get some cushions to sit on, or you could even do this next little bit in a chair. Okay. Ways to sit. You know, if you're wonderfully flexible in your hamstrings, maybe you do a lot of yoga in addition to physio Pilates, you can sit with the legs straight out as long as you can sit with yourself over your sit bones. And I actually find this a little bit hard. I'm a bit tight in my hamstrings, running and other things, I'm sure. So you could stay here and you could just soften the knees. Option number 2. The other option, which most of us find a little more comfortable, is to sit with the knees a little bit wide in like a diamond shape. But even if that's not comfortable, you could just cross the legs, or like I said, you can elevate the hips, putting some cushions underneath. I'm going to go in the diamond shape today so that I know that I'm really over my sit bones and I can keep that lovely tall neutral spine without feeling that I'm like pulled back at all or that I'm working really hard in the hips. Good. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take you have 2 options for the hands. So the hands can come to the temples if you're tight in the shoulders, because your focus is on that spine. Or if you're nice and flexible in the shoulders, you can interlace the hands behind the head. But if that makes you poke the head forward right off the bat, then just go with hands to the temples or even hands to the forehead. Okay? Take your nice breath in, and we're going to do a roll down in this position. So you're beautiful and tall. You're going to get taller as you breathe in. And on your out breath, you're nodding the chin. And you're rolling forward, and I don't care if you only roll forward a little bit. What I'd like you to do is keep your pelvis nice and still, right? So this isn't a roll forward from the hip. This is one bone of the back at a time. The head rolls forward, the neck lengthens, the upper back lengthens, right? Maybe you feel tight there. Maybe you feel it all the way down to your low back. That's okay. You pause there. Or you keep going, and the idea, is that you're going to put the top of your head down on the mat in front of you. Of course, that's probably not going to happen, but you get as round as you can, thinking of length, and then you restack one bone of the back at a time. And that is also our hard part, is getting that one bone of the back at a time as we do that. So we're going to do 2 more. Nice breath in, out breath to nod the chin and roll it forward, but thinking about length. Thinking about length in the spine, not collapsing into it, not putting pressure into the low back, drawing in with the belly to support the spine, and then restacking. Low back, rib cage. Do, 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 do. Good, and we'll do 1 more. So if you have the hands on the forehead, it's a little bit more gentle for those shoulders, but you're thinking of the same thing, is rolling forward, rolling forward, rolling forward. Take a breath in at your peak. Try to breathe into wherever you feel it's tight, wherever's not letting you go deeper in this stretch, and then coming back up to lovely neutral. Good. Perfect. So from there, we've done some rotation. We're going to do a little bit of a beautiful mermaid stretch. And in sitting, you can still stay, if you're in a chair, you can still stay sitting like that. Or if you can come to side sitting, great. Or you could stay in the diamond or the legs crossed position. The side sitting position is nice. You're trying to get both your sit bones down. You're nice and tall. You have the arms out to the side. And your first stretch is to take, if your feet are facing that way, so my feet are to the left, take the right arm and reach it overhead. And lean so that you're getting that length in the side there. Come back to arm straight out to the side. Reach that right arm out to the side. Lower it down to the mat, but you're keeping the hips level. So the hips haven't really come up, you're not shifting. And then that arm that's in the air, you're gonna turn, you're gonna rotate. You're gonna try to put that arm on the mat beside the other one. You might not get it all the way there. Depends how much rotation in that rib cage area you can get. Mine's not quite getting there today. Take a nice breath in. And release. Good. Come back up for one more mermaid stretch. So that if your legs are to the left, that right arm reaches overhead. Get long, long, long through that right side of the body. Then come back to arms out to the side. Put the hand back down on the mat. And add that rotation. Maybe it's a little more free the second time. Oh, it is a little more free, but not perfect yet. Take a breath into wherever you feel it's tight there. Good, and then keeping a nice tall straight spine as you unwind, thinking of getting taller so that you're comfortable in your spine in that moment, and coming back up to straight. If you're doing this, the legs to the side version, then switch them to the other side. Good. Nice and tall in your spine, arms out to the side. Try to be level in your hips. And then, if your feet are to the right, your left arm's coming overhead. You're lengthening through that left side waist. Think of all the ribs separating there as you breathe in. And then coming back to have the arm straight out from the side. This time the left arm is reaching, reaching, reaching. And it's going to lower down on the mat beside you, but you've kept your hips down. And then rotate that right arm. Or think of rotating the chest. And see if you can put it on the mat beside the left arm. Oh, that's so not happening for me today. So it's going to fall short, and that's okay. Nice breath in to wherever you feel tight. See if you can gain a little more rotation, but more you want to think of getting tall, right? It's always, length will always help you, I should say almost always, help you to feel more comfortable in the spine. You know, if you're doing some yoga and you're not feeling comfortable in your spine, it could be your spine does not like that position, truly. But also, you know, before you give up completely on that posture, think maybe you need to be taller, more engaged in the core, and give the spine the support it needs to get into whatever position you're trying. So tipping to that left side one more time. Rotating. Seeing, oh, look, it's better than the first time. This stuff works. Putting that hand almost next to the other one. And you might not even get the hand close to the mat, right? Maybe you stop here and you're feeling a lot of stretch. That's great. Then you just pause there, you breathe in to wherever you feel tension, relax the shoulders, get long right out of the top of the head, and then more length in the spine as you unwind and come back up to a nice kneel. Good. If you have your mini ball, we're coming down onto our side. And we're going to do just a little bit of side and hip work after working, you know, mobilizing our spine like that. But the blue ball gives you a lot of feedback. And it is hard. It's probably more like a level 2 than a level 1, but it's a nice thing to throw in to really see how steady you're staying in this series. So you have the mini ball somewhere into the rib cage. Closer to the armpit, closer to the waist. It doesn't matter. It depends how, you know, on your body shape and how big your mini ball is inflated. But you want to come down to be able to rest the head on that bottom arm. If that elbow's on the mat and that hand is going to cradle the head. The pelvis is stacked. This is our usual stuff. Take a nice breath in, and as you do, you're going to raise the top leg. Flex it down. Point and raise. Flex it down. Point and raise. Flex it down. Point and raise, and flex it down. Pause here. If you're having a really hard time on the ball with up and down, stay with up and down. But if you can, your big challenge here is to do very small circles with that top leg, 3 each way. And you're really keeping that rib cage nice and still on the ball. The ball doesn't lie to you. So if you're falling off, then this needs some work. Reverse your circle. Right? But it will tell you. It'll tell you where you need to have a little more control in the core, or where you need to think about lengthening more, holding the low ribs back. Hold it here. Lift that leg a little higher for 3, for 2, for 1, and then lower it down. Gorgeous. Let's do the other side. So getting your organization on the ball, or if If you don't have the mini ball, you're just laying down on your side as we do, with that bottom arm supporting the head, or getting a little cushion if your shoulder doesn't like that. Pelvis nice and stacked, nice and long in your spine, shoulders down away from the ears, and when you're ready, raise that top leg and flex it down. Point and raise and flex it down. Point and raise and flex it down. Point and raise and flex it down. And if this is hard, you're going to stick with straight up and down, right? Trying to find a centered spot on that ball. Think of holding the ribs back. Think a little more of that strength originating from the pelvic floor and the low belly. But if you can, you're going to pause and you're going to start your circles. And they're small, right? You're on a ball. But you try to make them as big as you can, or you try to imagine that every tracing of the circle gets a little tiny bit bigger, right? Within what you can control. And reverse your circle. And reverse. And reverse. Gorgeous. Hold this one here. Lengthen a little bit and then lift that leg a little higher, just for 3, for 2, for 1, and lower it down. Good. Now, I want to do one more exercise on the ball, or not on the ball, on our belly, that I didn't really plan to do, but I'd like to do it, at the risk of having my bread timer go off again during the video. So I really apologize. You guys will think I bake bread all the time. I promise I don't. Well, I do all. Boys eat a lot. So let's work on the extension in our upper back, though, because that's an important spinal mobility, right? So take a nice breath in. You're on your belly. As you exhale, I want you to feel that belly get lighter from the mat. I want you to draw the belly back towards the spine, not so that you're holding your breath, but so you're feeling supported in the low back. Breath in to expand. Breath in to draw the belly in, and then lift up with the face and the throat and the breastbone to come to your hover. Good. Release it down. Exhale to come up. Each time making sure that that low back is supported and comfortable, and release it down. And you have 2 choices here, because some of you at level 1 are able to keep the forehead and the back of the hands connected and float the forearms. And if that's the case, then do that. If you're comfortable. If you're able to hold the tummy in, float the upper body without the legs flying up, without feeling compression in the spine. If you're able to think of length, right? But if you're not able to be comfortable like that, then leave the arms on the mat, not to push down into them, but just so you don't have as heavy of a lever to lift, right? Good. Make this one your last one. Perfect. And then peel it down. Good. Take the hands underneath the rib cage, bend the knees, press it up. Just one perfect press up. Rock it back into a lovely shell stretch. Bring the hips back towards the heels. Lower the forehead to the mat. Bring the hands around by the feet. And this is a lovely one for low back spinal mobility, right? So you're thinking of that low spine lifting towards the ceiling on that in-breath, and on your exhale, deepening into it. Good. On your next breath, roll it up a bit, rock it forward. If you want to get up the way I do, tuck the toes. Walk the hands back towards the knees, roll onto the feet. Straighten the knees and roll it up one bone of the back at a time. Open across the chest. And voila, you're done. Hope you feel good and mobile in your spine and strong in your core. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Ciao.